too shy to sing in public, so he was the DJ. But the girls, you couldn't tell them nothing, not a thing. But although my family members played around with singing and performing, I was the only one who was adamant, this is what I want to do with my life. My parents tried to encourage my musical talent by buying me a couple of cheap instruments. First, my mother bought me some drums when I was in the 3rd grade. They were cheap as hell, with skins made of material not much more durable than typing paper. My little sister Carol made sure those drums didn't last more than a week or so. One day I came home from school and saw that she had beat them up, putting big holes in the snare, the bass and toms. Yeah, they were cheap, but they were still mine. So of course I had to beat her up. A year or so later, my mother bought me a bass guitar. She knew I had always loved listening to the bass, the smooth rumbling coasting along at the bottom of those records I enjoyed listening to. I played around with that cheap bass for many hours, tinkering in my room with those strings, but I never got any lessons to go along with it. So eventually I laid it down and didn't pick it back up until several years later, when I got lessons on a New Edition tour from one of the funkiest bass players who ever lived, Mr. Rick James. Hitting the stage. My parents was huge fans of James Brown, as most of the black community was in the early 1970s. James was filling black people with a sense of pride, with memorable records like Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, which came out in 1968, the year before I was born. Though I don't remember, my parents say I really responded to James Brown's music even when I was a baby. And when I was 3, James unknowingly gave me my first chance to take over a stage. My parents brought me along when they went to a James Brown concert in 1972 at a well-known club called the Sugar Shack on Boylston Street. The Sugar Shack hosted all of the top R&B acts in the 1960s and the 70s when they came through Boston. At a certain point during his show, back then, James would welcome kids on the stage to dance and entertain the crowd. Apparently, that was all the invitation my 3-year-old self needed. I'm told I immediately grabbed the attention of the crowd and had them screaming with my James Brown-like dance moves. It would be a telling baptism for me as a performer. For the next 4 decades, grabbing the crowd would become as important to me as breathing. It's fascinating for me to watch my son Cassius do the same thing when I bring him out on the stage now. The boy loves to perform, and it's clear he has inherited my all-consuming desire to please the crowd. It's deep in his blood. When I take him with me to a Bobby Brown or New Edition show, I sometimes bring him out to dance with me, to my prerogative. The boy swears he's the reincarnation of Michael Jackson. He even told me that one day. He devours Michael's music, requesting that we play songs from different Michael periods: Jackson 5 Michael, Off the Wall Michael, Older Michael. Sometimes he'll call me into the living room and make me sit down. "Daddy, watch this new move," he'll say. Then he'll spin, kick out his leg, and launch into some intricate Michael steps. The whole family will be cracking up, but I'll also be thinking, damn, I did the same exact thing when I was his age. Except it wasn't Michael Jackson I was mimicking. It was James Brown. Cassius gets it honestly. His mother, my wife Alicia, was also a dancer when she was young.